This one is definitely pretty crazy. One of the dudes right here is actually holding an AR-15. And as you can see right here, this one is pretty intense. Let's stop right here. You got a guy back here. You can't see it here in my video right now, but you got a guy back here that actually has an AR-15, and you got three guys. So you have multiple guys doing a home invasion at nighttime. This dude takes about $20,000 out of this people's houses. I believe they take a couple dogs as well that cost a lot of money. And I tell you, every single time I see something like this, where people are taking a lot of money, the first thing that comes to my mind is that they knew. Really, they knew that there was money in that house because they ain't gonna get that lucky. When you got three guys doing a home invasion like this, where it's, they plan this thing and they make entry, I mean, most likely they know they have to. This is too well planned for them to come out empty-handed, right? They don't know who's there. They don't know if the homeowner has or the guy living in the house has a firearm or anything like that. I mean, when you see something like this is definitely pre-planned, in my opinion, and they have some kind of information. And when I saw the deal with the dogs, the first thing that kind of came to my mind was that maybe these people make entry into your house in some kind of way, right? And again, I'm just assuming or stipulating in here. Doesn't mean that this happened or not, but you know what? You start selling dogs, you don't know if people pretend, pretend I'm going to buy a dog so I could go inside your house. I could look inside the house. I could see some of the points, or these people see the points that they're going to make entry from, inspect the dogs because they know the dog costs a lot of money. So you really have to be really careful when you're in the business of selling things, right? Because again, people are going to make entry into your house under their, I'm buying a dog, or I'm buying this, or I'm picking up this from your house, a fish tank, whatever, an aquarium, whatever. And then they're going to come in and they're going to look around to make a decision. You shouldn't have people inside your house that you don't trust, right? You shouldn't have people inside the house that you don't know. That's just, it does not go that way, because you don't ever know what people are thinking, right? You never know what people are going to do. And you have to be very, very careful when it comes to that. So in this situation right here, I tell you, when I saw this, I thought to myself automatically, man, they know something. And in fact, at the end of the video, they actually talk about it. They actually talk about the fact that they actually most likely knew the guy or something like that. So let's go ahead and share this video. Let's watch this.
Henry Lee live now, the San Bruno Police Department with the latest on the investigation. Henry. Julie, the victim tells me he can't sleep and is badly bruised after this ordeal. He says he is very worried about his family's safety, and he asks that we alter his voice and not show his face. I'm terrified. Terrified because, this is what my family did. My family did as soon as they went to the door. This San Bruno man is in pain and living in fear after three armed men invaded and ransacked his home, attacked him, and stole valuables, including $20,000 from a safe. Some of that money was to be used for IVF treatments. That was specifically for the right procedure. We trying to have a baby. Also taken his two English bulldog puppies. She said the puppy didn't want to, and I said no way. 8-week-old Hercules and his sister Tootsie, each worth about $10,000, stolen from their crate during the home invasion at about 9:30 Friday night. The intruder was soon joined by a second man, also armed with an AR-15, and a third guy with a 45 caliber handgun with an extended magazine. He says they threatened to kill him and demanded his money. He says he believes the robber caught on this video is a friend of a former tenant of his.
And this is why I always say that, home defense firearms got to be a gun that has to have different components, right? For example, it needs to have something such as good capacity, right? I don't like to say, over capacity or whatever, because you know what, like 30 rounds in an AR-15 is a standard capacity. But again, we're not looking at something that has, 10 rounds. We're looking at something that has, 17 rounds, right? If you carry a pistol, right? If you have an AR pistol or an AR, standard capacity, 30 rounds, right? You don't want to have something that has, a Glock 42 with 6 rounds, right? You don't want to have that. Not only that, you need to have something that not only has a good capacity, right? 17 plus, but something that has a rail so you could put a light on it, because look how dark it may be. So again, you don't know if you're going to find yourself in a confrontation at nighttime. Again, that large capacity or that good capacity is going to allow you to address different threats. That light is going to allow you to possibly identify that stuff, right? You got to have a respectable caliber, right? That's why I talk about having a 9mm or above for home defense, because once again, look, you're facing three guys. And I know, a 22 could do a lot, but again, you don't want to face three guys with a 22, two guys have an AR-15, one guy has a 40 cal or 45, whatever he had, right? So you got to have a firearm that is good for home defense. And once again, the weight doesn't really even matter because once again, you know what? Home defense, you're not carrying that thing, right? So if your pistol is all tricked out and it has a bunch of stuff and it's heavy, who cares? Really, who cares? You're going to be using that to protect your family. Again, you got to have something that is going to allow you to address multiple attackers. So my idea always of a home defense firearm is having something, again, having something that is going to allow me to address the worst situation. You know, every single time that I hear somebody saying like, you don't need an AR, you don't need this, I like to say this. Look at those three guys coming into your house to do something bad to you, right? Don't tell me what I don't need. It looks to me like I need one right now, right? If I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I see these three guys in my back patio, it looks to me like I need one. So again, and this thing right here, gents, this thing happens all the time. This is not new. This is not something that's happening, you know, once a year. This thing happens every night. Every day we have home invasions. Every day we have people conducting robbery. Every day we have people doing horrific things, right? And you got to be prepared to protect yourself. And you see it right here. What are you going to do with that 380 when you face that guy with an AR-15? It makes no sense to me. So you got to think about that stuff, right? You got to think about seeking proper training. You got to think about having the proper firearm. And you have to think about having all this tactics and strategy to protect your family. Because you ain't going to make it if you don't have it, right? You really are not going to make it. I mean, in this situation, this is crazy. But again, as I see this right here, all I think to myself is like, this guy's new. So that tells me that there is something in your communication plan that you need to change, right? Maybe you're hanging around with the wrong people, right? And you're telling the wrong people information that should be only you. Like no one should know that you had 20 G's in your house. If you have $20,000 in your house, please don't tell people because this will happen. This will happen. Somebody would tell somebody else would tell somebody else, and this could potentially happen, right? Talk to your children because sometimes your children may say things that they shouldn't say because they don't understand, you know? Maybe they say, hey, you know what? My dad has 3 AR-15 and 2 1911s are over $1,000. Guess what? They tell the friend tells the douchebag older brother that has been in jail 10 times because he likes to take stuff that is not his, and then he may plan something towards you. It will be kind of stupid because obviously if you have those firearms, you know that you're going to be facing somebody with a gun. But look how they come. They come deep. 3 guys with AR-15. So you got to be really careful when it comes down to what you say, how you say, who you tell, because this could definitely happen to you.
The man in question, seen on the far right in this video, had threatened him a couple of months earlier after he asked him to leave during a disagreement. The intruders also stole a gold necklace and 7 pairs of Air Jordan shoes worth $4,000. They also stole a 49ers helmet, but left another helmet and a football signed by wide receiver Deebo Samuel behind.
They took a lot, $20,000 in cash, 2 dogs, shoes that cost crazy amount of money. But again, in this situation right here, as I look at this situation, I'm thinking that there was something, some kind of way this dirtbags went inside the house, some kind of way they had some knowledge, some kind of way they knew what they were going to be getting. It feels to me like that's like the target that house. That's what it feels to me. It was definitely not a target opportunity. It was not something that, you know, they pass by and say, hey, that garage door is open, so we're gonna go in. No, this house was target and based on information that they had. So if this guy ever sees this video, you gotta find out who you're hanging out with because somebody told somebody that you have money. And I'm sure the police probably talked to you about this already. But again, you saw this. You saw multiple attackers. You saw multiple people. They're carrying guns that cause a lot of damage. And this is why you got to prepare to defend your family. And you don't have to prepare to defend your family with a 380. I'm not, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to have the best gun for the fight. And again, some of you guys out there that haven't made the decision to maybe buy something a little bit better, yeah, do that. Because if you face 3 guys like this and you don't have the right firearm to deal with that situation, you may find yourself in a really bad incident, right? And if you call the cops, I mean, they may come and help you, they may not, who knows at this point, right? So again, prayer for that guy and that family because that was crazy.